I think we are ready to start. So we have our rock history class and we have some additional people. Thanks for coming. It's a huge deal for us to host Duff McKagan here. And I want to make sure that where's Heather?
I'm running back here with my student.
Heather is a teacher in the life skills class, and I have some life skills kids in my rock history class. It's been awesome having them here. And Heather is the connection, so can we thank Heather? And Heather's dad is Duff's brother, so can we thank Bruce for being here? Put together, I'll give it to you now so we don't forget. Shirts for both of you.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you cards for you.
Got the
Thank you. Black one, red one for you. Yeah. So I think we'll jump right in. We have some prepared questions, but we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm thinking maybe a little over an hour. Time for maybe some signatures and a group photo, something like that. And hey, man, thank you. Thank you.
Thank me after this. Hey guys, I'm Duff. I play bass in Guns N' Roses. I have my own solo thing. I've been doing music since 1979 in punk rock bands in Seattle. I started as a kid. I played drums, and I played bass, and I played guitar. My brother Bruce here showed me my first 3 chords on a left-handed guitar. G, A, and D, that's all you ever need. I found out. ACD does great for ACDC. That's all they need. And taught me the birthday song on the bass, which is the Beatles song. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that song. And it moves into the blues major scale, which I didn't know that, of course. I was in 6th grade.
I don't think I did either.
But these were 2 tools, these 3 chords and this major blues scale that I took with me, and it informed my career. Like these simple things, and just kind of like, I was very fortunate to grow up with older siblings who did music, and it made it, I'm like, oh, this is what I want to. You want to do what your older brothers and sisters do, right? Like you want to be as cool as they are.
And you're probably wondering why I'm here today. I'm his older brother by 14 years,
Right.
so I'm going to make sure he behaves.
Yeah.
That's my job.
So, I mean, that's, my story is in that I played in a bunch of punk rock bands. Every band, I just wanted to find the perfect band, whatever that meant. 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 and 18. 19, I decided to move to Hollywood and try to find some things that I was looking for, and I found it in a meeting. I met Slash and Steven Adler, the guitar player and drummer for Guns, threw an ad in the paper. That paper, was before the internet, so, right? Way before the internet. So we had like Craigslist was a newspaper. And this is called Recycler. You could buy a used washer and dryer, a car, help wanted, also musicians wanted these in the back. So that was how I met Slash and Steven. And then Izzy, the rhythm guitar player, moved across the street from me. I lived in a pretty low rent neighborhood, AKA kind of gnarly neighborhood. And Izzy moved across the street from me, with Axel. Around the corner, and we formed our band. History in that band. I guess I'll just talk, right?
Let me add something here.
Yeah.
I'm done already in the music business down in LA. He's going to move down. He calls me up and says, guess what, I'm going to move down. And I said, well, look, I can get you a job with one of the bands down here that I manage and hire and stuff. And he says, I don't want to play clubs, because that's what I was doing, clubs. I don't want to play, we want to make it big. I don't want to play in clubs and play cover stuff. And I said, but Duff, coming down to LA and trying to make it big, dude, you're a dreamer. You're a dreamer. He says, no, I'm going to do it. And he did make sacrifices that I could never in my life to do what he's doing now. He did it back then, he's doing it now, and it was amazing. So I just stood back and kind of watched him go. So that's,
Well, yeah, I mean, I was fortunate to see some bands in the punk rock days that made me decide this is what I want to do. And one of those bands was The Clash, one of those bands was DOA, and I just went and saw DOA like 3 weeks ago, you know, and I've let him know, the singer, DOA, what the influence he's had on me throughout all these years, which has been really cool. But anyhow, moving to Hollywood, meeting those guys, that's what Bruce says I sacrificed a bunch. I just had tunnel vision. I knew what I wanted to do. Whether we got big or not, I just wanted to find the perfect band, like just to have that feeling of the band, whatever a perfect band meant. And we got together and really discovered how to write songs. We wrote them together, we figured that all out. And we just started writing songs for ourselves. Like, don't know how to write a pop commercial song to be on the charts or anything like that. We just wrote songs for ourselves, and people started to like the songs we wrote. We played gigs for 3 people and 7 and 9 and then 50, and then we started selling out little clubs in LA and selling out clubs multi-nights, and people were into us. We did a lot of shows with a lot of cool bands down there. We opened for Red Hot Chili Peppers when they were just breaking in 1985. We played with Social Distortion. We played with a bunch of punk bands down there, and then we kind of broke out on our own. And we got a record deal, and we made our first record after that construction. And we just went out and toured and toured and toured and toured. And that record, finally, after like a year and a half of touring, it wasn't like now there's like an instant hit. I don't think a band like ours, because record labels aren't behind their band, it's just too, what is it now? It's gotta be instant hits now, right? And back then you could, thank God, tour for a year and a half, and if the record label believed in you, they would keep you out there and tour. And our record finally broke after a year and a half, which was kind of unheard of. But like a band like U2, they didn't really break until their 4th record. That couldn't happen these days. They wouldn't, you wouldn't get that record label.
They wouldn't support you long enough, right?
No.
Yeah.
And Joshua Tree finally broke, and that was the 4th record.
Wow.
No.
Do you think it was the music video for Welcome to the Jungle?
No, that didn't get played. They would not play. And they finally played it here. I mean, okay, yes and no. They wouldn't play that video on MTV. MTV was everything back then to like let the rest of the world know you had a band, and what you sounded like and what you looked like. MTV wouldn't play the song Welcome to the Jungle. Made a video. It was a little too rough. A little too, like, the subject matter was a little rough, the band was a little rough for MTV. And then finally our record label head, David Geffen, called his friend who owned it and said, "Would you just play it? Would you play the video, play it at 3 in the morning?" And they did, finally, a year after we cut it out. And people started calling it that video, play it more. So, fan-driven MTV, thing got that going. But we made the video for, if you notice, like I said, it took a year and a half for our band to break. So what in a year and a half, your label starts going, yeah, maybe we pull them off, maybe you do your next record. And our contact guy at the label said, let them make one more video. Just let them make one for this. So we made it with a Sweet Child of Mine. And if you notice, if you've seen that video for Sweet Child of Mine, it's black and white, just in a room, blank. Our girlfriends are there. So they just filmed everything that's there. Not very expensive. Edited together and boom, there was that video. And we were on the road with Aerosmith at that time, and things went nuclear at that point, when that single came out. My brother Bruce, like he said, he was in the industry. He would get the Billboard magazine, if you know what that is. Billboard, like charts magazine. He would get it every week. Not something I looked at, but he would like call me and say, dude, this is getting fun. Your record just broke top 100. Okay, I'm good. I have a top 100 record on Billboard. Hey, you're getting up towards 50. Record's getting up to 55. You know, they get 20, and then in the top 20, and then top 10, and single went number 1, and the number 1, year and a half later. That was crazy, right?
Incredible. I was an entertainment director for a big chain of nightclubs and restaurants. So my job was to find bands and DJs and stuff like that to draw people in, and it was usually dance music that drew them in. And when Sweet Child hit, and then all of a sudden people knew that I was his big brother, it was like, man, I was a superstar there for 15 minutes, It was amazing to see, because everybody was getting appetite for destruction, clubs and everywhere. And for the first year that he was rising up, the impact in LA had always been strong. The impact in LA was outside of LA, that they didn't have a name for themselves necessarily. So it was amazing to watch the growth.
Yeah. So then that happened, and the band got big, and I know we were talking about some of the questions might be like, what is it like to be recognized? So that went from really like just being the guy chasing the thing, and then the rest of our band, nobody knew who we were at all, to like the Sweet Child video played everybody, and suddenly you're walking down the street, you're in the grocery store, people are staring at you. You're on the cover of the Rolling Stone, which is at the, where they put the magazines right by the checkout thing, and I was getting like dog food and my dogs, and like, all right, and started to make a little money. Like I had money left. Go to the grocery store and get what I wanted. It was not just top ramen. Get like I can get some chicken and barbecue. I can get a barbecue. This is awesome. But then people like looking at, you're in line, looking at the Rolling Stone, looking at and going, like, and so I didn't know how. I still don't know how to really deal with that. But for a few months there, people would laugh at my jokes. The girls finally discovered how good looking I was. About time, and it's about 6 or 7 months into that whole. My jokes are funny and I'm really good looking. Damn it! Yeah. I realized they were enamored with the persona that was, and wasn't necessarily. So that part was kind of like a crushing little thing. But I have my 4 best friends I grew up with. I have my family, and I kind of just went to that. And I bought my first car, and our older brother John, he came to LA. He's like, oh, so you just waste all your money. Now my car I bought wasn't that expensive. It was like for that. I mean, it was like, huh?
Was it a Corvette?
It was a Corvette, but it was like not. It was just like 20,000. It wasn't like.
But I know John.
John's like, oh, you just waste all your money buying sports cars. So that's really like, okay. We grew up. Our parents grew up in the Depression, so we grew up with. You know what that is? The Great Depression. So we grew up with the Great Depression era.
How many brothers and sisters?
It was 8 of us. Yeah. So
8.
So we had a thing called family FHB, which is family hold back. If we had a guest over to eat or just if there wasn't quite enough, we whispered each other FHB, family hold back on eating. Right. Leaving something to go. So I've had that, FHB values, and stuff, and that's got me really. I mean, it's cool being getting to shows, you know, like getting good tickets to shows. Still buy Alma tickets to shows. I'm trying to get crap, but you know, there's definitely perks to being one of the guys who got some votes. You know, probably a lot of them. But I just live. I got my wife, my kids are in their 20s now. They're out of the house. We have a new puppy. That's kind of my life. It's pretty normal. I'm off the road right now. So.
Pretty normal, yeah.
I mean, for me, you know, pretty normal.
Are there any questions? Should we open that up now?
Yeah, sorry, I'm done talking. What kind of dogs? What kind of dogs? We got Hadley. We rescued him. Hard corgi, as we think. Hard terriers, we think. Maybe Chihuahua. Maybe, I don't know, it's amazing. Kill it. One ear down, one ear up. Yeah, we know. We played fetch, potty, you know, potty training for 3 days. Super fun. Yeah. You guys got music questions, any personal questions? You can ask.
Yeah,
people
we are
whatever.
trying
I'll
to
tell you.
questions.
Yeah. I have one of those answers. Roll. Okay.
Somebody go first.
Yeah.
What first inspired?
Well, again, I grew up, I'm the last of the 8 kids. So it was all of their music. But really what got me going, that we had a reel-to-reel tape deck. Yet another brother brought back, he was in Vietnam. And he brought this reel-to-reel back. We had it in the living room. And it was James Game. You know James Game? There's a song called Funk 49 that's just rap. And there was a Sliding Down the Stone, tape or record, I forget. That really kind of got my imagination going. There's so many sounds, and I've really always been drawn to like a funky backbeat, a groove. So I'd say maybe those couple things initially got me going, my imagination going. I didn't know how to play it. It's just like this magical music. Beatles, there was Sgt. Pepper's record that you had that I just listened to a lot. Oh, and the Sonics. That Sonics record, the song called The Witch, that is a band, you know the Sonics? Famous garage band, rock band from Tacoma, Seattle.
Early 60s.
And he had the record, and there's a song on there. I mean, I was like 6 years old, 7. So a song called The Witch. Wow. It must be about a witch, you know? Like, so I listened to that song, and that is like the genesis of punk rock, that song.
So, in preparation, we kind of studied up on you
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
and watched So We Can See Another Lies.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How was that?
Great.
I never watched it.
You were great. And then one of the things that came up, we started listening to some of your solo stuff, and I was saying to them that you can study about an artist, but in some cases, just listening to the work or looking at the work also tells you a lot about the artist. Can you talk a little bit about your solo records? And
Yeah.
it seems like you put a lot out there, and what's that like for you to do, being so famous and having certain expectations for you and what you're going to do?
Like lyrically putting stuff out.
And also instrumentally, like that lap steel and stuff.
Yeah, pedal steel, yeah. So I got into this thing, you guys. I put out my own records for a while. You know, this band called Loaded, and played with just a ton of people. I had another band called Velvet Revolver with Slash, Scott Weiland, singer from Stone Temple Pilots, killer rock. But the whole time I was kind of writing songs, and I made, you know, I would record these songs, do this, you know, whatever. In about 2015, I put an acoustic guitar up against me on the couch, and I finally took, how old was I? So I was like 49, took me this fucking longer, 51, to realize the acoustic guitar, the reverberation of the guitar up against my chest, was telling me where to sing, range-wise, almost telling me what melody to sing. And then you would get like this catchphrase. I have a song called Long Feather. Oh, Long Feather is home. And this catchphrase would come to me like, my guitar is trying to tell me what to write a song about, even. Like, what does that mean? So I dive into what that means to me. I've been writing a bunch of songs with that method. Just simple, have the acoustic guitar up against you. Play your chords, if you got a melody, do it. Put the reverberation into my actual chest cavity and letting it inform you what to do, because music just comes from the ether, it comes from wherever, you know, and you just kind of harness it in. I don't know, not to sound like, you know, a Hindu or something, just, but it comes from nowhere, and it comes to you, and accept it. Now I've just been accepting it and letting the acoustic guitar guide me. But as far as like subject matter, instrumentally, I wrote a bunch of songs. Was ready to make a record in 2019. Shooter Jennings, you guys know who Waylon Jennings is? Famous, like outlaw country guy. Shooter's his son. Shooter's a producer, and he has his own band. They're like a Americana band, pedal steel, violin, like, and he's like, let's use my band to do some songs. So I suddenly was in this space that was totally different for me, but I let it take me. And we made a really, I think, a really beautiful, pretty record with that band. I was able to take that band on the road with me. So I had a band that's been together for like 8 years as my band, which is pretty great. You don't have to train everybody, you know, they're great. And then I made this record here, Lighthouse record. Just got my own studio here in Seattle, and I was recording songs. Guns N' Roses were prepping to go on a tour. Prepping means we rehearsed for like 3 months, and I recorded these songs. We go play our first show, COVID, worldwide pandemic hits. We roll back. And I went into the studio, my studio, and recorded like 60 songs. The Lighthouse is the first public grouping of these songs I've recorded. And I think lyrically these days, I read a lot of really great authors, to me, great authors. And they really inform me. Like, I give myself high benchmarks as far as the English language goes and how to use it. And how to not use it. Having a few words say a whole lot is a real secret. There's some really good writers who do that. I just use people that are better than me. I listen to them. I just try to be as that. Get close. Try to get close.
Can I jump in? So as writing these and producing them, Bob Dylan was on a podcast. You guys know who Bob Dylan is? Right? Pretty good writer. Not much of a singer, but a great writer, right? And all of a sudden, I get this email, and it's his podcast, and Bob Dylan is asked, well, what current artists do you appreciate? And he mentioned a couple of songs, and then he stopped cold in his podcast and said, and then there's Duff McKagan. Now, again, the bass player for Guns N' Roses, that's how everybody knows him, not as a writer. Now, he wrote, but that wasn't his claim to fame. And Bob Dylan says he has a song that stopped him in his tracks. He just said it was the greatest song, so simple, so bright. It just hit me where it hurt and where it felt good. And I called up Duff and I said, dude, you get it? Bob Dylan thinks you're pretty good. Now, your brother would only no, but it was, I mean, how would that make you feel? Pretty good. I don't care who you are. You know, that was a
surreal.
fun moment.
Yeah.
It was a surreal moment.
Surreal, for sure. Yes.
What for you, like,
Well, I did a record in '93. So to clarify, Guns N' Roses, we became a really good band writing unit. Like, there's a difference. Having a band, you can be in and write songs together. But if you can click and do that and write good songs, you're unstoppable. You know, really, you don't have to depend on one guy writing songs. It's like, so we did that forever. So songwriting was not new to me. I made a record in 1993. I was still in the midst of some bad things in my life.
We know all about it.
Oh, you do? Okay. I mean, you guys in high school, I don't want to get too crap.
Don't worry about it.
Well, I mean, I know when I was in high school, but whatever. So yeah, I was loaded, and I made a record. You can hear the loaded in my voice. You can hear the cocaine, the alcohol. After that, I made a record. I got sober. I made a record in 1996 called Beautiful Disease. My record label got bought by like the Omni Group, the evil big Omni Group, Universal, and they shelved all these records. Mine was one of them. Being never came. There's a song on Lighthouse called Hope that I recorded. That's from, I finally got my master's back 24 years later. Evil Omni Group. But that was a track with Slash and me and Abe Laborio, who plays with Paul McCartney, drummer Paul McCartney. It's called Hope, and that's from 1996, from my record. Anyhow, then I started a band called Loaded, and I met my wife. She started having babies. I had nothing to do with having the babies. I was there. She had the baby. When I said we had a baby, no, she had the baby. I was there. She had it. Anyhow, I stopped any kind of touring because I had infants. So I went to Seattle Youth, got into Seattle Youth, and so I had my college. A little later, I was in my 30s, called Loaded, and made a record called Dark Days. To your question, it's when I was really writing songs all by myself, imagining a band playing songs instead of writing the songs with me. And just kept doing it. Felt Revolver formed. We became a band songwriting band. And then after that, just kept writing on my own. Got a ton of songs, and just something I do. Acoustic guitar in my living room. I've got an acoustic guitar in the basement. I got an acoustic guitar everywhere. I got a bass sitting. I got everything I need if something comes. Got a question?
I was wondering what motivated you to write So Easy.
The book, right. Well, I was writing for Seattle Weekly. I was a columnist, a weekly writer for a few years. And then I started writing for, as I said, I went to Seattle U. There, I really learned writing so much at that school. I think at all colleges. But this is a Jesuit school where they pride themselves and you're going to come out as a writer, So I started writing for Seattle Weekly. Playboy.com, I wrote a financial column for them because I was going to business school. And
Tell me what the title was.
Duffonomics. Yeah. And I wrote for ESPN. So I was writing all these columns, writing a ton. And I started writing these stories that weren't right for the Seattle Weekly. Too personal. They weren't right for ESPN. And they weren't right for Duffonomics. There were some personal stories. Some of them were kind of gnarly. And I would just keep writing these on plane trips and wherever on tour. And at some point, my editor at Playboy, Tim Moore's his name, he had edited, I think it's Thomas, Norman Mailer. Okay. He goes, yeah, I sent him some stuff. He's like, let's do this. And he became my editor for the book, which means I would send him, he was like a professor, and sent him, a bunch of different documents. 2,000 words a piece, 3,000, 1,000. say document 2, paragraph 3, sentence 2. What did that smell like? What did that feel like? What did that look like? I don't know, it looked like that. He goes, no, don't talk, write it. And so he was like a professor who helped me kind of expound on some things. And it was tough, at some points it was a tough book to write. And there'd be times when we had both my girls on the other side of me, the girls, playing, daddy's in the middle, writing. And you write some stuff when you're writing about your own life. I think at this particular age, you guys are too young to maybe probably have some of this, because it's human nature. You look back at some tough points in your life or some points in your life, you're like, well, I did this and I did that, and then move on. But if you're writing about it, you've got 2 little girls next to you who look to you for the truth and everything, and you're lying to your Word document. I just painted myself really good in that story, but I just wrote. That's not how it happened. That is not what was my part of the story, really. And I started getting really honest with that fuck up, And oh yeah, I did fuck up. Actually, I was the biggest fuck up in that story, where I painted myself as being the hero, And so it was really kind of life-changing, that thing. And then it coming out, that was the thing. Books got to come out. That's what they do with books. They read it. And you're going out and doing book signings, and I did a little tour of the U.S. book signings, and I was in Europe, or Japan, UK, and Ireland. People are looking, like they were looking at my scar, like my arm, because I wrote about the squatter ski. People looking at my right arm. I wrote about it. They know a lot more about me and my life. And the girls said that, in that book, I didn't give away. I certainly held a lot of things close. You don't have to tell them the whole story. I told an arc of a particular story.
What was amazing about that, so here his brother, 14 years old, opens up the book and starts reading it. And I'm going, what? He did what? Oh my God. Where was I? I was blaming myself for him getting caught in all kinds of things and doing all kinds of stuff as a big brother would. Right?
Yeah,
but
you tried to help.
it was hard reading it, but there was something about Duff that if you listen to his music, read his, there's always hope. Always, always, always hope. And I got here, but then I had hope, so I started this, meeting these people, whatever. So it's amazing. He's had that ever since he was a kid. But it's really, if you listen to the last 2 albums he's done, and he mentioned a song that he produced back in '93 or '96 called Hope. It's on the latest album, which is called Lighthouse. And it's an amazing song. And this was when back when '96, when he wasn't out of the woods quite yet.
I was out of the woods.
Okay.
I was 2 years out. That's when I would consider it. I'm like, but no.
Gotcha. Anyway. No.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
I'm going to interrupt for a second here. Can you guys hear okay?
Can
Can you? Because I have a little thing that
you hear me all right?
Okay, great.
Guys in the back?
So,
Okay.
Yeah, all right, got you. Yeah, I'll stand up. Yeah.
So, I had such as kids have a so heavily AI to more like some live show, PC guns, those just going down some path.
I don't, it's funny. I was thinking, is AI going to come up in this? Because I was listening to NPR on the way out. They were talking to an AI about content. I guess now like a Twitter post, like the first, where they comment, is AI. Pretty much across the board, because people, it costs nothing to do it, and they just want content. They don't care if it's good or bad. So it'll just be some AI thing that you can tell is written by AI, and because it's bad. I don't know, like there's an AI artist that does Guns N' Roses stuff. It's really cool. It's on Instagram. Like that's really radical. I wish I looked that good. It's amazing, you know. That guy's pretty buff, you know. But I can't sing music, you know. I love ABBA, you know. Some of the best songs. Amazing. So I don't know what AI would they do? What do you know?
They like do a live show in London, so they completely artificially generated.
A live show with, how's the music? Is it just, how's the music played and sang?
I think it's recorded.
It's recorded. So it's kind of, you're going to see like a 3D show or
Yeah, hologram.
hologram. It's hologram. I could see Kiss doing that. Oh, they're like the first ones in line. No, I just went saw the Stones the other night. You know, Nick's 81 years old. He moves like a 30-year-old. Moves like a dancer. And Ronnie Wood's killer and Keith, you know, like they're doing, you see the big screen, those guys don't get any like facelifts or nothing, like it's just like scars and all. Like, this is it, man. These guys, yeah.
I have a question. How do you not care when people think about you? Or
Yeah.
how do you deal with hate you get? Or do you get hate at all?
Did you guys hear the question?
She asked, how do you deal with criticism or online hate or something? I don't look. And that started a long time ago with like live show reviews. We had a song, Guns N' Roses, on our Use Your Illusion record called Get Me. And the line is, why do you look at me with hate? So we would get like people write about our band, like in newspapers, major newspapers. These guys, you could tell they didn't even go to the show. They just wanted to hate us because we were dirty and nasty and telling the fucking truth. That's what it was, you know, in our own way, you know. And so I learned back then not to read the live reviews or record reviews because it's just, and you know what you're doing, your truth, your thing, like who cares? So on my social medias and stuff, I never click the comment. I just don't do it. It's a downward spiral. I have done it. I've looked. There was a kid. We Belt Revolver. We had a website, and before social media, but the social media then, 2000. We're getting close. It's 2004. We have a website, and there's a forum on there. People can talk to each other. There was this one guy. I would look at this forum, but there was this one guy, and he had this. Called himself Axel Resner. You know, like Axel's name and Trent Reznor's last name put together. That was a screen name. But he would say these things, and he liked our band. But they would kind of cut us down because the things he was cutting us down for were kind of right. You know, like, who's this guy? You know, and I found myself like looking just to see what he says. We did something. I'm in the Netherlands. We're playing a show. We're doing this like meet and greet with this, and this kid comes, 14 years old. Yeah, how you doing? He goes, hey, I'm Axel Resnick. I'm like, you're the guy I've been living and, you know, breathing on your comment. I'm still friends with this guy. He's come to load shows. He met his wife. They got married. Like, he's older than 14 now. But so, you know, that taught me a lot. Like, so I know you guys deal with it because I have daughters too. They're 23, 26. We came up through the social media time and we saw it, you know. And, I don't know. Big middle finger, you know, is a great way to deal with it. Don't look. If you know what you're doing and you dig what you're doing, I know you post stuff and you do that and there's comments. Who's commenting? Some guy in the basement, you know? Axel Resner, 14-year-old kid. Hey, you know, it's a smart kid, but you know what I mean? Like, I was like 41 with kids, you know? So I guess does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah.
I was wondering, like, how did you
Oh.
like? Oh,
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I'll just
sorry, my bad.
Alright.
I was wondering, like, how you created such like great bass lines. What was your like inspiration for that?
Yeah, well, thank you. You know what? So what I mentioned when we first started talking, that I played drums and I played guitar and I still play guitar and I still play drums. But when bass was the thing I was going to do with Guns N' Roses, this is what I'm going to play bass. I started really listening, like, okay, what kind of bass player am I going to be? You know, how am I going to, you know, put my footprints in the cement? You know, so it goes back to that Simon Family Stone stuff, that groovy, funky, Larry Graham stuff. You know who that is? If you don't, are you a bass player?
I play drums.
You play drums. Well, Larry Graham, the bass player, he invented like slap bass playing. It's funky. There's a video on YouTube. He's still alive, of him how he invented slap bass, and he tells the story of why he's playing. He's playing the styles that he developed as he's playing the story.
Wow.
And then just suddenly becomes this thing. But Paul Simonon from the Clash, like great bass lines. Things influenced me. I didn't copy. It's just things that influenced. And our drummer, Steven Adler, myself, we worked on just rhythm section, Paul. Every day, before band practice, we would have bass and drums for 2-3 hours. And developed. We played like Cameo. Just play stuff, you know. And so I don't know. Eventually, I developed a way to, like, Slash has all these lines, and you know, he plays very particular things. So how do I play and not? Sometimes I join in with him on reps, you know, but sometimes you back out. Then you have Izzy, our other guitar player, playing like these other lines. So you got to fit, and you got the drummer, you have the singer singing. So you got to find your place in all of that and make it cool. And that was my thing, like, just find my place and make it cool, you know.
So I've been doing like stagehand work for concerts.
Oh, yeah.
A few years. So I was just kind of like wondering, how does, like, either with Guns N' Roses or your solo stuff, you know, like, how does the backstage or like the touring environment like affect?
Well, okay, so there's a big difference between Guns N' Roses, right? Like, I was out at Stones the other night. They played the Lumen Field, Seahawks, you know, and their crew production is who does ours. So it's like going there, and I know everybody, you know, from the lighting guy to the carpenters, the riggers. You have to bring, when you do a big stadium shows, you have to bring carpenters, the riggers, that's the people that hang all the stuff up there. Like everything you see at that show, we're bringing. The stage, that people set up the stage. So that's, then I go out my own tour, I play theaters. So I don't need to bring riggers or carpenters or, we have drum tech. You know, I got my guy, Bob, my bass tech, who does my guitars, does everything. He's been with me since 1987. Old school, man of few words too. And very kind of like, what are you doing that for? Trying my way to do it. But you know, you got it when you travel and tour together. You have to have the personalities have to mesh. I know I'm big crews or small crews. If there's somebody who's playing too much, or no, you got to do it this way, or trying to be like an alpha or something, they got to, because you're just too close. You know, all the time.
Well, just think of you without Big Bob.
Yeah. My guy.
Yeah,
Bet.
just all these years, a guy is tech.
It's a long time.
Yeah. Is somebody you can one along with always.
Always. Yeah.
So I've been working with a local guitar company, and I've been kind of working with the design and build process. And I was just curious, what's important to you when you're selecting, first of all, the instruments that go on tour with you, and then when you make your own signature ones?
Yeah. Oh, right. So you're who's the guitar maker? What I know it.
Andy Beach, Behavior Guitars. He did the Prince Super Bowl guitar, and
Oh.
he used that at Zach Wild's guitar camp for a while. So,
What's his name?
Andy Beach.
I'm sure I've met him before. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. He's Zach's guy too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big Prince fan. I don't know if I mentioned you. He's huge. I saw a guy, I went to a punk rock show the other night, and there was a guy opening up, and he was playing this, about to go out and do this Lighthouse tour in Europe and in the US. And I played acoustic guitar through a lot, I wrote. But I saw this guy playing a Falcon acoustic, a Gretsch Falcon acoustic, and it sounded great. And he was banging away at this thing, and it kind of stayed in tune. Like, I look for that stuff. What stays in tune sounds good. My signature model basses, there was an original bass that I bought when we got our record advance. It was a Japanese-made Fender Jazz Special. 2 pickups, bridge, neck pickups. I found out, Seymour Duncan's run a little hotter, and put those in there, okay. I didn't know any of this stuff, but I had the bass that sounded like me. And the strings, the road sounds, everything kind of goes into it. So when it came time to do my signature model, we just kind of recreated that 1986 Japanese version and put it in the American custom shop and did that. And then my second signature model, just kind of a fancier version of it with neck inlays and D-tuner on it, But I look for stuff that sounds good. What I bring on the road with me, stuff that sounds good, stays in tune.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
Coming from the earlier conversation, what's your opinion on today's current scene movie here? If it's just a lineup of reviews from past or
The scene you're saying? Like which one?
current punk scene in Seattle. So
I mean, I've been going to some. I think it's just from what I witnessed. I went and saw DOA. I'm seeing like the old crusters, right? But they're the guys who, to me, I'm like that's that guy. But I see like young punks because they're all ages shows at the El Port. Went to Stiff Little Fingers the other night. And I see young punks there, young, like your age, right? And I'm like, it's great. You're getting coming to the real stuff. Like this is the original stuff, Go. So I think it's cool. Just in my latest experience. So the last 6 weeks. So cool. Yes. What is the story behind Rocket Queen? So you said, I didn't write these lyrics. The story behind the lyrics? Kind of the story. Yeah, the story behind the music was what we had like this, again, we were listening to a lot of Cameo and Prince and stuff, and so that has that kind of funky, landed on this groove, and same thing with Jungle, like we landed on these grooves. Axl was having a romance with a young lady back then, we were like 20 years old, and everything's so dramatic when you're 20, and she's my Rocket Queen, but it's a great lyric, great song. It stands the test of time. That's important. The lyric. I don't know the exact. I don't want to give it. I do know the exact story, but yeah, not safe for this. Whatever. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yes, sir.
Did you ever have a popular song that other people thought it was good, but you personally didn't like it?
Oh, did we have a popular song that
You personally liked?
I'll tell you a story about Sweet Child of Mine. I've told the story before, but Izzy had written these 3 chords. D, C, C, C. But Axl loves it, he had this melody for it and started singing this, Slash and I were like, so if you listen to the intro of that song, Slash plays this really atonal thing, and then the bass comes in and tries to destroy that. That's what we were thinking, but the band was so good at gelling at that time, that even that worked. Us trying to make the song go away. We'll write this intro and they'll just go, yeah, we're done with this song. But it all worked. And I love that song because and did kind of write it, once you see people get married to your songs and you see the reaction in the crowd, people, this is how they met, this is their song and the thing. It becomes like, it's bigger than you know, it's like, this is awesome, yeah. So, I did not, I mean, that's the closest to song I didn't like, when you try to destroy your own band song. But so,
Hey, Duff, let me butt in a second. I want to go back to the custom guitar work and all that stuff. I'll never forget finding out when Fender decided that he'd do a signature bass. And I called him up and said, dude, you made the big time.
Yeah.
This is it, man.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
on. And we're having a good fun back and forth brother kind of talk. And then at the end of it, he says, oh, would you like one? And I'm like, okay, right? And, you know, I'm left-handed. And he writes left-handed, he does nothing.
I write with a pen.
Yeah, and I thought he was left-handed, so he was growing up, I was trying to get him to play left-handed, and he just wasn't making it, so we moved on to other instruments. But anyway, by the way, he's right-handed. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So here I am, he says, would you like one? I said, sure. Well, we talk about once a month or so, you know, and we talk about stuff, because we're both in the music thing, enjoying each other's journey. And I didn't mention it, and if nothing happened for like 6 months or so. And I'm going, oh. And all of a sudden I get a phone call. And it's from Duff. And he says, you know the signature bass that I promised you? I said, oh yeah. Right. Yes, I do. He said, well, they're not gonna make it. There was something on it being left-handed that they're having an issue with. And he says, so I'm in the custom shop of Fender right now. What do you want? Now, I've never had a Fender before in my life. I had Les Paul bass. And I said, he says, well, let me help you. I know how you play bass, and I know. So how about this, and how about that? And they're building it. I was living in Charlotte at that time. 2 days later, it was at my house. And it's the absolute gem. It's this P-bass. It's absolutely, it's what I record with, and so, kind-hearted, that's just another positive stroke from my little bro.
So cool thing, as you probably are starting to discover, cool thing about being in a band and your band blows up is that people start looking at instruments you're playing, /alone, revitalized Les Paul guitar. Everybody was playing pointy guitars back then, Jacksons and stuff. We played old school Les Pauls, and it really brought it back to it. And the Fenders that I was playing, the kids started to buy those. So the company takes an interest and starts giving me free stuff. I'm like, where were you when it was broke? I can use the free, reverse it. But then you get like, you start, I guess, selling enough basses and product in theirs that they make you one of their artists, and which means I can give away a couple instruments a year. I can give.
If I can pay for mine.
No, I think it was one of the 2 giveaways. I don't know. But anyhow, that's a cool perk. There was somebody. There was you, right?
You mentioned that when you first started touring, like, both feeling pressure to, like, use the tape, like, right away. After becoming well known, do you feel like you ever felt pressure to, like, producing what's happening, or?
To produce a hit, to pressure? No. I don't think so. You still got to write those songs for yourself.
Yeah.
And if that becomes a hit, cool. If it doesn't, you got to just, at the end of the time you're done with it, recording that song and doing all the backing vocals or whatever, if that's what your intention was in your head when you first sat down with your band, then that's good.
One of the things that's really interesting, Duff, he has a studio in Seattle, and I've been invited to go there quite often. And in it, he's got a couple of these boards, dry erase. Or actually, they're not dry erase, they're just, and he said he was writing 60 songs. Well, all 60 of those songs are up on this board. And he is every one of them. He's producing them. Do I have my drummer done? Is that done? Is my guitarist, is that done? And he's watching. The fact here is, it's just not, when you go in and writing and stuff like that, you're just not a solo person just making it up. You got a plan, and you're executing your plan. 60 songs, and whether I have a tambourine in that, and what I have song number 33, and what's happening with that. It's just amazing to watch somebody who does this for a living, and they're just using things that we use it should be using all the time, which is just planning.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of planning. Like
Yeah.
back to your stagehand and that stuff. It's all about logistics, planning. You know, you start adding, you got family, like too, and everybody else got families. How do you make this work so you can not, you know, lose your family and yours, you know? Is that a question or are you filming? No, you're filming. You were reaching up to the camera. Yes,
What do you think would be like favorite musician you worked with in the past?
to work with?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
huh?
Wow. I just got to go play a show with Chad Smith. I played it like this. We played Time Your Mother Down by Queen and Iggy Pop, I Want to Be Your Dog, and Chad's the drummer from Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's my favorite drummer. I did an Iggy Pop record with him. I did an Ozzy record, two Ozzy records with him, and played some Iggy Pop shows with Chad. He's my favorite. And got to go out to play this jam show with him like 2 weekends ago down in LA. I was down there. And, so that's my latest Iggy Pop. He's the godfather. It's like, for me, it's Iggy Pop, Prince, and Lemmy from Motorhead. Like, that's the way you do it. You know? Debbie Harry, Blondie. That's the way you do it. You know?
Deborah Harry? You kidding me?
Oh, man. No, she's done it her way. Like,
Yeah, she's.
Man, there's a lot of good players, Slash, you know, or Bros and stuff, but he's still like, I lose my breath sometimes watching him do some new thing. Like, where did that come from? I've seen you play every lick you've ever played, like this new vocal thing, and you're on some of the pickups, you play with fingers, where this, and it just happens one night, you know. So he's a really exciting player because he's always on the edge. He's not resting on something. He's always pushing stuff on the edge, so you never know what's going to go. Axl is an amazing front man. You know, he's got this presence and his singing techniques to sing our wide range of stuff for him to be able to do it year after year. But the technique he uses, and I watch it on stage because I sing, and then so I go to school on him. You know, I'm like, oh, he's getting a bell because he's doing this, and he's turning his body, and he sang it out of here, you know, and he hit that bell. You know, so many cool. I've been on a play a lot. You know, I don't want to sound like I don't want to start like bragging, but I played with a lot of my heroes, a lot of no-name guys that really inspiring. Just two guys. Thanks. We got it. Yeah. You.
I was wondering if you listened to any like Promise and took any like inspiration from Les Claypool.
Les Claypool, oh my God. Well, he's so outside of my level. Like at my level, I was like this thing that I kind of stayed in. I try to push my boundaries. Les Claypool's on another planet. You guys, the bass player he's talking about, Les Claypool from Primus, is insane, and he sings and he plays these insane things, right? I appreciate him for sure, but I wouldn't know get any influence from him. I don't know what he's playing. I have no idea. I've watched things now that YouTube and stuff. You know, I've watched these like let's play cool riffs. You know, it's a lot of notes right there. You know, and they'll play them slow so you can learn. That's a lot of notes. Yeah.
How was your time in Belgium?
How was my time in Belgium? It was was very nice. My time in Velvet Revolver was very interesting. We were, 2004, the kind of like consensus was rock and roll was dead. And we formed our band and begged to differ. And we made a really cool rock and roll record for that time. And it did, I mean, that record went to #1 too, Billboard charts. And we had a #1 single and all that kind of success stuff. But it was our relationship with the audience at that time that really, no matter the drama, and there was things in the band that were gnarly, super gnarly. But our relationship with our audience was great. It was really cool rock and roll relationship. So, yeah. My time in Velvet Revolver was, I learned a lot.
I just want to chime in. The rock history people, we generated these questions. You got to keep an eye on the clock because you're going to run out of time. So if you have a question that you're burning to ask, don't wait because this will pass by. So any of the rock history people?
We talked about a lot.
Don't be shy.
Rock history, but yeah. I'm just well, I listened to Stiff Little Fingers on Sunday, like before the show. I did that. If you know that band from Belfast, 1978. Probably not. But,
What's the question?
the question was, what kind of music do I listen to today? We do a lot of like this. We have, it's called Tune In at our house. It's an app. We have like speakers all over the house. So we'll go to like anything from new, just to keep like kind of, we'll go from new like rock. And it's just playlist. I don't listen to really hard rock now. Like there's so many bands like, I don't know, like super hard, like hardcore. It's too much for me. I grew up in hardcore punk rock, so that's kind of what I would go to if I go to that kind of music. I'm not saying I listen to all music, I don't. We listen to like the R&B channel, which is new R&B, which I like, you know. But I'll go to my mainstay if we're just rolling music. We have a station called Jam that's from Ireland. It's all new wave music. It's great, like 80s new wave. I'm down. Yeah.
Did you ever listen to bands like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath?
Do I listen to Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath? Absolutely. Yeah.
Black Sabbath.
My wife and I, we have a radio show. It's on Sirius here in America. It's on Ozzy's Boneyard. So our playlist, it's kind of a hard rock radio show we have. So we'll play. We just recorded a show yesterday with this. So that's Zeppelin. We played. How do you think we're playing? Let's play some Who. You know. We try to find new bands too, so we have requests and like send us new band, rock bands. We play that. Yeah.
How was your time playing in Jane's?
How was my time playing in Jane's Addiction? It was great. You know, I went in to write a record with them, and then ended up playing some shows. And they're insane, great, and literally insane as well. In the best of ways. It was great. It was really good for my bass playing. I learned their whole catalog, so playing those songs is Eric Avery, the original bass player, really cool and imaginative. And he and I came at the same time. Jane's and Guns was playing clubs at the same time. So, yeah. In 86 and 87. Yeah.
Were there any bands you guys had beef with, or you like really did not like?
I mean,
You can't get this kind of stuff out of him. You just don't let him go there.
there were some bands like when we were like back in the day playing the clubs. I told you what, from 3 people to 9. That's, you know, you go out and flyer. You make flyers. We'd have to borrow money to make our flyers. You know, play the gig, pay the guy back. We had a guy who would owe us money for the flyer. So put the flyers up and we do it as a band and go and put them up. And then somebody flyered over your flyers. The beat was on. And we were kind of tough. We were like, we didn't give an F, you know, like, you know, you might have just effed up by flying over our flyers. And so there was a few bands who might have became bigger, you know, that we had a beat with. We scared the crap out of it, basically. Just because we weren't living in our parents' house in the valley. You know, we were living in Hollywood. It was like, this was our life. We had to borrow money to put these flyers up, you know. You did, and you flied over our flyers. You know, there's gonna be some beat. Yes.
I know you were talking earlier about stuff like that.
What'd you say?
I said, I know earlier you were talking about like the like functions and like being interested in that too. Where would you recommend to look out for like new like upcoming band shows?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have my younger daughter, so they inform me a lot of stuff. Iggy Pop has a radio show on the BBC radio in the UK. His playlist, he always finds somehow he finds new stuff, and I'll go to that. But my daughters, more than anything else. Yes.
So I was curious, you said during one question something about like somebody being above your level. What are kind of those limitations of like any given level? Like is it physical ability? Is it mental ability? Is it just like kind of where you consider yourself? Like how does that work?
Now listen, I just taught myself finger picking on this guitar a couple of years ago. So I like just by going on YouTube, I'm always pushing myself. I don't want to make it seem like there's a level you should stay within, because there's not. But like slap bass and stuff, just never had a like Les Claypool, never had a place in what I was doing. I love slap bass, and there's guys and gals who are so good that I'm not going to venture into that character. I do what I do good, I think, you know. And I got my thing, and I'll push myself, but nobody else will ever hear it. You know, if I'm slapping bass at home, so that's for me to do. You know, probably not for consumption at this point. That's what I mean. You know, there's he's beyond. Okay, beyond. Bruce's son, my nephew, right? He was probably the best bass player I'd ever heard. But he does these things. Happening. I'm telling you what you're doing. You know, he's my nephew. Like I have no idea.
They're not necessarily better or worse, but just different.
Different. Yeah. I'm sure, Brian. You know, like if you appreciate what each other has, then there's growth right there. You know, I'll listen to you. Be amazed. Prince, drumming, guitar playing, singing. I can't do it either. Yes.
I have two questions.
Two questions.
Yeah. First one, when is the Pink Slip Sub-Hammond show?
Right. Grace is playing this weekend at Bottle Rock Festival in Napa, California.
Okay, but it's not here.
Not here in Seattle, no.
When is it in Seattle?
I don't know. Good question. I'll ask her.
Yeah.
Maybe she wants to come to school.
Yeah. Wait.
Now,
The second one,
second question.
do you criticize the art you make or yourself? Or
I do while I'm making it. Yeah, and being critical is okay.
yeah.
Being critical of your own stuff, like, that just means that word that you're just saying is not right. I just texted, my guy who produces me, I just texted every 2 words this morning. Fill these other 2 words. I'm making some more music right now. So I'm listening to like the math. It's just the rough mixes. Those 2 words aren't right. So that's being critical. Just cut those. How would you come up with those 2 dumb words? Get those out and keep this moving.
Yeah, but how can you make sure that the song's like good enough to put it out?
You don't know if the song's good enough to come out. You know, again, if it's at a place where you matches it and you're satisfied with that. Again, that's more like the people looking at you on the social media commenting, isn't it? Yeah. So I just put it out, and then You kind of put your head down and you move ahead, and then, you know, I get to do interviews and stuff when I put a record out. I bet good experience. Oh, yeah, sorry. Say it again. What's my favorite song?
Yeah.
Favorite ever song? Oh, my Lord. I don't know. Do you have a favorite song?
Yeah. You like Sweet Child?
Well, thank you.
Are you asking what's his favorite song?
Yes.
His work
Yes.
or
This song.
Of my something I've had to do with? Oh, my gosh. There's a lot of songs there. I don't know. There's, we get to play these songs all night long when we go offshore. We play 3 hours. And some nights it might be My Michelle's my favorite song, or Welcome to Jungle, my favorite. Yeah, I get it. It's like, it's slamming, and to be able to play that live, that's my favorite song. Or some nights, Rock Queen or November Rain or whatever. Do I know the background of Michelle? Do I know the background of the lyrical matter of the song? I absolutely do. And that'll be enough of that. Yeah.
So, when you're on tour and like doing shows, do you find it hard to keep like the same energy like every show? Or,
It's a new crowd every night. He asked if it's hard to keep the energy up playing night after night. And man, I've learned, like, you play for that crowd, and that energy from that crowd is completely different. They didn't see you the night before, so you can't rest on something. I did a show, Guns N' Roses did a show with the Rolling Stones in 1980. Rolling Stones. We're really coming up now. We're opening for the Stones at the Coliseum in LA. 3 nights. Radical. They come over to our dressing room tent. Jagger, Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood, hey guys, and Mick starts talking. He's like, hey, it's raining night. You probably shouldn't wear those cowboy boots. I got some runners, some tennis shoes, same size shoe. Like, Jagger's talking to me about our shoe. But then I'm like, he goes, well, how's it going? I said, well, kind of playing the same songs night after night. I'm having a problem with that, keeping it up, keeping the energy up. And he said, you know how many times I've played Jumpin' Jack Flash? He goes, but there's always somebody out there that's never heard it play to that. And that just opened up. I was only 24, thinking, oh, I played my songs too many times. What a kind of an asshole thing to say. To make Jack like. And he finds, I could tell, I went and saw him the other night, he's still finding that person out there who's never heard him do that particular whatever song. So I do that. And the energy from crowds is great, and I've really learned to appreciate that.
I was on went to a show, I can't remember where it was, and it was Gino. It was one of the last tours. And I went backstage, and Slash was there with his 2 young kids. And they were back there just kind of talking, and we let the kids kind of take it. They were telling jokes. Middle school, grade school jokes. So you have to laugh at them, right? And we're just going back and forth. And then all of a sudden, the guys in production said, okay, it's time to go on the show. And I went from that 4 or 5 people just sitting around and talking these little talks and going out, and all of a sudden, as I followed Duff and Slash, 60,000 people from this environment to this environment. And it was just, I went, how do you do that? How does a person adjust their life to that? And I think you can see it right now.
The Illuminati put these buttons in it a long time ago.
Yeah. So it's amazing. And what's great, just sitting back and listening to this thing, this is who he is. what you're getting a taste of is a guy that's made it in the music industry, and he's still who he is. He's just a little brother that observes life like the rest of us do, you know? It's just great. I'm sorry.
All right, no. Yeah, it's definitely like there is a switch you got to turn on when you go out and play, kind of more to your question. It can go from some little kid telling you a dad joke, you know, to going and being like the meanest, dirtiest rocker there ever was, you know. And, you know, and that's a switch.
So you mentioned, or there was a question about what your favorite song is. What's like the most fun song? Is it the same thing for you, or is there like a different one going, you like a song more, but then there's one that's like more fun to play?
Playing.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I get to go out and do this record, so that'll be fun. It'll be all fresh to me. Like every song will be fun. It depends on night to night. What is the fun song? Like sometimes the crowd will be behind something we just did. We don't play the same set list every night. We just play songs. So that spontaneity, well, it's kind of necessary.
Yeah.
And you might do something spontaneous in that song as a band, you know, like land on something and go, okay, let's keep going. And that becomes the fun song. You know, but always like we open up with It's So Easy. That's always so fun to do. People love that, you know. Playing Paradise City is great. It's the last song, usually, of our encore. People go crazy. So, yeah, we got one.
You said you were inspired by some authors that you greatest.
Yeah, Cormac McCarthy, I'm a big fan. He just passed away last year. Ernest Hemingway. I've got a lot of great, but as far as like carving up words and stuff, Ernest Hemingway, Cormac McCarthy come to mind as the top. Yeah.
One of my favorite things to watch on YouTube is compilations of Axl stopping a show to make sure someone's safe, or jumping off the stage and getting over fire.
Is there a compilation of this?
Yeah. Kind of funny. Do you have a moment that you remember where something, like one of your favorite moments, or maybe least favorite moments, where something went wrong, or something show didn't go as planned, or something awesome happened?
Back in the day, there was a lot of shows didn't go as planned. Stuff. I mean, every show's different. You hope for the best, you know, but you're winging it. You know, we rehearse a ton. Just so everything, you know, we rehearse so much, and we've always done it. Because muscle memory. All hell breaks loose. You're still playing the right note. Yeah. You know, that's what you're rehearsing so much for. And wherever the rock and roll band things can go, left or right. Rarely do we ever show that goes just center. It's always something we gotta do. Axl, you have an Axl singer, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, was always there. You got a merry-go-round. Where's it gonna go next? But he's the real deal. You know, he wasn't pretending ever up there. And that's pretty rad to see. Was there one more?
Genres or styles.
That I hate music. I hate. You know, I guess I just don't listen to music. I hate. I've been asked that question. You know, like I went and saw my wife and I. We went and saw this. We went to Jazz Alex. Bought us tickets. Let's go see jazz. Oh, and we went and saw hardcore like bebop jazz, like, and they were slamming. And whatever they're playing, like, I think they got music they're playing, you know, because they would come back together and get into a theme together. How'd they do that? It would just be 4 different corners. But I appreciate stuff that I try to expose myself to a lot of stuff. And I don't know, I do. Like, maybe when I was into punk rock, I was supposed to hate disco music, but I didn't. You know, I liked it. So Thanks. Are we good? Has anybody got any burning questions? Burning questions?
Do you have any plans for future music?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Do you have any plans for future music with walking papers?
For walking papers, yeah, probably not. Because Barrett, that drummer, that's what I was saying, all those guys. Walking papers kill them. But Barrett Martin, the drummer, as a bass player, pushed my bass playing. That's what I try to always do, is push my bass player or guitar player. He was that drummer that pushed me into new little territory. So that was fun to do. That was challenging. It was kind of my in-between band that it was like going to church playing with that band. Really like soulful. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
You met other musicians who liked your music, but their genre is so different from yours, it was surprising.
Always. Yeah.
Can you name
Always. I like taking my daughters to shows. They're now in their mid-20s. That's before kind. They're 23, 26, but we went to Justin Bieber. We went to Taylor Swift. And then you get to Justin Bieber. I'm with all these girls, and hey, somebody comes up. They're like, my girls are like 12, 11, and 14. It's like right in that, hey, you guys want to come out? Justin Bieber's the biggest Guns N' Roses fan ever. Okay, I think he was like 14 years old then. I'm like, hi, girls. I'm like, girls, you gonna be cool? Like, we're gonna go back. They froze up, I get back and he's like super into the band. He knows every last note and drum stroke and vocal on anything Guns N' Roses. Super fan. He's frozen up, and I'm the dad and girls, but he loves my band, So there's people like that. A lot of different R&B, like the NWA. You know who NWA is?
Yeah.
Right? So back in the day, we were their favorite band. And they were our favorite band. We didn't know that about each other when we finally met. And it was like this mutual appreciation thing. And they're like Compton hip hop, it was called rap, and it was even called hip hop, yeah. And we were this Hollywood, crazy band, crazy white boys in Hollywood. But that was fun. I guess it's probably time.
One more, Luca here.
I'm sorry.
This will be good, probably.
Okay.
I was wondering how did you get out there in the music industry? Like, how did I get an office
You're a drummer. You got a band? Okay. Do you guys, what do you get, playing shows?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I did. Just kept asking, is your band the right guys?
Yeah.
Are they the right guys? Is there one guy that's gonna be our guy? You gotta find that the band, every person in the band is, that's the key to that lock. That's all I can tell you. That's why I moved to Hollywood. I was losing people because there was always a missing link here in 1982, 81, 83, with being a band. Or somebody started doing drums. Okay, can't do this at this level. You're doing heroin, to be quite honest, frank with you.
I think what we'd like to do is maybe take that group photo.
Yes, right.
And I
Group
think
photo,
some-
guys. I think there's too many to do like single photos. When he said how many people were coming, so if we could do some sort of group thing.
That works.
You're the teacher. You know how to organize this stuff.
Yeah. And then I think some people brought stuff to sign. It was my